So things are getting real now in the Six Nations. We've got teams out for France versus Ireland. It's going to be an amazing game on Friday night. Welcome to another video of the Six Nations supported by Lifting Giants. This French team is obviously going to be strong. Any French team will be, but I must say I've seen a little bit stronger. Let me know if you think you agree. Some interesting calls, and it looks like maybe they're going for size and power as a priority. They could have had a slightly quicker, more athletic team, so that's interesting. And some big calls on the Irish side as well, so we're going to get into those. First of all, if you haven't entered the giveaway for the rugby artwork, Light Behind Me by Blair Skivington, that's a free draw. Click in the link below there and I'll draw it in the fallow week. He's got loads of cool rugby artwork. Check out his Etsy shop. And we're running some fun fancy leagues, the official Guinness Six Nations fancy game. I've got a load of leagues below because you're only allowed 100 per league. So please click into those if you haven't already. That's all completely free and a bit of fun. But let's get into this French team. Now, in the front row, as we thought, Malvaca has forced his way into a starting spot just by sheer performance. What a great player. And on the bench we have Marchand, who is obviously not too shabby either. What a fantastic 1-2. Probably only matched by Ireland's 1-2 at hooker of Sheehan and Kelleher. So amazing battle at hooker. Then in the second row, a slightly different looking second row to what we saw in the World Cup, or a very different looking second row. Number 4 there, I'm not going to try and pronounce him because I'm going to butcher it, but this 30-year-old has been around a little bit. He's played 16 times for France before, but not a high profile player, and he's been picked over Cameron Wokey, who is a bit shorter, a little bit lighter, not a lot, but maybe they're prioritising the power there alongside the big tight headlock Willemse, who we know well. Originally it was looking like it was going to be Meafu as the massive number 5, but he's injured. Pasolo Tuolangi's in the squad as well, but he's only 19, so Willemse is the logical choice in the number 5 shirt, so bulking up the second row. In the back row, a massive shame, of course, that Jelange is injured. He's had a torrid time with injury, and a bad knee ligament injury means he's out of the whole Six Nations. But Cross is a great player. He's played plenty of times for France, so they're not really losing out there. Then two fantastic players to finish out the back row. Olivon, just a world-class flanker and a world-class line-out operator. 2 for the price of 1 there. And Gregory Aldrit is the captain, replacing Dupont as captain. He's been around the block a lot and he is an absolute world-class number 8. Then into the back line, changes in the halfbacks compared to the World Cup halfbacks. With Dupont playing with the Sevens team, who's going to come in? Well, it was probably going to be the experienced all-rounder Luku. Now, due respect to him, he is a good player, but he's not even close to Dupont and kind of who is really. But they are missing a lot there compared to Dupont. So that is, a downside, I guess, to the French team. But in respect to Luku, he's a good player, but he's no Dupont. Off the bench is the excitement. Nolan Le Garrec, the rock star, the youngster. He is absolutely express pace. He's going to come off the bench. Amazing kicker as well. He's one for the future. Would have been a big call to start him, so no surprise they're going for the experience at 9. Good news at 10 that Jalabert has recovered from his injury scare, and it wasn't too bad, so that is really good news there. And on the wings, a change there. They could have played Biel Barry, the flyer, but they've gone for the more powerful Moefana, who's kind of a centre/wing. So he's played on the wing before for France and done very well. So not a bad call, but certainly going for that more powerful winger than a more silky running winger. Dante Fiku, their first choice centre pairing, and Pinot and Ramos, their first choice other winger and fullback. So it's a very good team. It's probably not full strength, but it is, of course, amazingly strong. That backline so dangerous. And then because Ramos covers 10, they can have this 6-2 split and bring on some big guys there. 2 second rows in Tawi Fifinoa and Wokey, although Wokey could play in the back row, I guess, and Boudahent, the other back rower. Then Le Garrec covering 9, Biel Barry covering the wing. So it's a very powerful French team, but not quite the best I've ever seen, although they've definitely got enough to win, but just a few question marks, which has made me kind of shift my thinking towards Ireland. So just a word for our exciting sponsor, Lifting Giants. They've created this revolutionary new line-out lifting block. An independent study has shown that 10% improved hand placement and 9% stability in the lift. Super important. Nearly half the tries are scored from lineouts, of course. So if you want to get your hands on a pair of these, 10% off if you use the code RugbyAnalyst for the duration of the Six Nations. That's very exciting. All the details in the description. So let's look at this Irish team, and it's a very exciting Irish team with a few interesting changes. Of course, they were going to have to find another winger to replace Mac Hansen. and it is indeed Calvin Nash of Munster to win his second cap. He's very exciting, some brilliant performances for Munster, very much deserved, although Lama was pretty close as well. So Lowe and Nash on the wings and Keenan at fullback. In the centres, a bit of a blow that Gary Ringrose has been ruled out with a shoulder injury, but of course they've got the perfect replacement in Robbie Henshaw. Bundy, Aki and Henshaw is going to be absolute box office. You know, whatever way round you do it with Aki and Ringrose, Aki and Henshaw, Henshaw and Ringrose, it's always going to be fantastic. And of course, Aki, the star of the World Cup for Ireland. Number 9, Jameson Gibson-Park is of course starting, racking up his caps. He's on to 30 now. He really makes that fast-flowing phase play tick. Who is going to replace Sexton at 10? Well, Crowley was the favourite, and it is indeed Jack Crowley of Munster. He is very confident. I think he's going to do great. This is the biggest start of his life, of course. It will be his 10th start, but Frawley's waiting in the wing, so that is good competition. But they've gone for that 6-2 split, and you can see that Kieran Frawley will cover fly half, maybe fullback, maybe centre. So if he does well, he's almost playing himself into a number 23 shirt maybe, because he's that perfect guy to have if you want to go for the 6-2 split. Matching France is not that they knew that France were going to do that, but they knew that France were going to be super big and physical, which they are, so they want to maximise their forwards on the pitch. In the front row, Porter, and Furlong is of course their first choice front row, and on the bench their first choice backup front row of Kelleher, Healy and Beelum, so couldn't be any better there. And then the big news in the second row, even though James Ryan is fit now, they've gone for the youngster Joe McCarthy of Leinster. He is the future of that position for Ireland, but a big call to put him in there. They could easily have just chucked James Ryan straight in. But McCarthy and Byrne, McCarthy again, the biggest start of his life. So exciting. And the captain, Peter O'Mahony, if he could be any more fired up for an Ireland game, he will be for this one, bursting with pride, being the captain for sure. And of course, the class of Josh van der Fleer and Caelan Doris to round it out. Then on the bench, I mentioned that 6-2 split, meaning you've got Ryan as the second row replacement. Baird could come on the second row, but probably onto 6, maybe even replacing the captain there. What an athlete Ryan Baird is. Amazing line-out jumper as well. Conan probably covering 8, and then you can move around Doris if you need to. Murray covering 9, and like I said, Kieran Frawley covering everywhere else. Two great teams, but I think I'm slightly changing and tipping Ireland now as the slightly better lineup. I think a lot's going to ride on these youngsters, how they're going to perform. Is Joe McCarthy going to step up? I think he probably will. And a bigger test, I think, for Jack Crowley. Obviously, 10's so important, so vital. If he has a good game, then Ireland have a brilliant chance of taking a big away victory. And whoever wins this game are hot favourites for the Six Nations, rightly or wrongly, probably rightly. But anyway, pop all the comments below about these teams, who's going to win, enter all that stuff I've said as well, and I'll catch you next time.